What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday. Hopefully everyone is doing well and having a fantastic weekend so far. It is time now for the Sunday weather update for Sunday, December 1st, 2024. That's right. We have entered a new month and we have started meteorological winter. More on that in just a little bit. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where I do the daily weather update for the United States, and sometimes we talk about a headline of something that is going on elsewhere in the world. Today we are going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the lake effect snow, the forecast for the week, and I'm starting to see a signal for a new storm system showing up in the mid to near long range. We'll say, about a week out from now, about 7 days. So we're going to take a look at the models for that. A lot of uncertainty with it, but it's good to keep you prepared ahead of time in case it does end up happening. So if you're new to my channel, subscribe down below, give this video a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and share this video with anyone you know, and of course leave your comments down below. Alright, real quickly on the international front in Malaysia and Thailand, flooding kills at least 12 people. This has been a bad year, not just there, all around the world for flooding events. Here in the United States, we had Helene, we've had Milton, there was flooding over in Spain. There's been a lot of flooding events around the world this year, and it says here, huge flooding caused by heavy rain in Malaysia and neighboring Thailand has killed at least 12 people, officials say. But get this, more than 122,000 people have been forced out of their homes in northern Malaysia, while in southern Thailand around 13,000 others have also been displaced, and they're saying this number could go even higher. This news story was put out by the BBC, and I've seen a lot of different sources talking about that. All right, from the Weather Prediction Center now. Shifting intense lake effect snow bands will continue to cause hazardous travel near the Great Lakes over the next 2 days. A brief reprieve is expected midweek, but more snow will turn later in the week. And what they mean by more snow is there's a clipper system that's going to come over. So there'll be some moisture from the clipper, plus with the winds, that could create more lake effect snow bands or snow squalls. And you can see here the areas that have been getting hit the hardest right there along the immediate Great Lakes. We'll take a look at some snowfall totals that have occurred in just a little bit. All right, National Weather Service says, welcome to meteorological winter. Are you weather ready for the winter season? Get ready for whatever Mother Nature throws at you. And it says their brand new all hazards resource page is packed with the latest weather safety graphics, videos, and social media posts. And I think you should always have in your vehicle, if you do own a vehicle, a weather preparedness kit. Like in the wintertime, you should have a blanket with you. If you have like an SUV, maybe carry a snow shovel with you in case you get stuck somewhere. Just have the essentials, things that you need, maybe some snacks. Just keep them on hand because you never know when something such as what happened just the other day on Interstate 90 could happen in the winter season when there is winter weather. All right, I have to share this with you as well. The Mount Holly National Weather Service office says here's a summary of meteorological autumn 2024. And earlier back in November, we were talking about the drought conditions, and this goes to show you how bad the drought is in parts of the mid-Atlantic, in southeast Pennsylvania, and in New Jersey. Here's their summary of meteorological autumn 2024. It was the driest on record for Allentown Airport, Atlantic City Airport in New Jersey, the Atlantic City Marina, Georgetown, Trenton, and Wilmington. Second in Reading, third in Philadelphia, fourth at Mount Pocono in Pennsylvania, also third warmest in Philly, fifth warmest in Reading, 10th warmest at the Atlantic City Airport. Wow, yeah, that's concerning to see that happen. All right, let's take a look at the national satellite picture, and we can see here there are still some clouds in the mid-Atlantic right now. A weak disturbance that went through. A few flurries have been seen on some of the cameras in south central Pennsylvania. We can see those lake effect bands. Some of them continue to go. You can still see some impressive cloud tops here. And there is another little clipper system up in the northern plains. Not a lot of moisture with that. And the rest of the country is quiet, but we're going to be watching this moisture that is just south of Texas and Louisiana build throughout the week. This will provide some rainfall for you. Taking a look at the winds. The winds are still whipping across the lakes. Everywhere else in the country, really for the most part, is quiet with exceptions to portions of the plains and the northern Rockies where you can see here there are some winds showing up there. Taking a look at radar, here's that weak disturbance that's going through the mid-Atlantic. Hardly any moisture with it. Some of these lake effect bands are still going. Here's one up here in Canada. That is really impressive west of Ontario. There's another one in Michigan. This one is really impressive. And right along I-75, there could be some whiteouts with that band right there. Here's that weak Clipper system that's up in North Dakota. It's going to drop southward and eventually it probably is eventually going to fizzle. That's what the majority of model guidance shows. And if we look in the Gulf of Mexico, you can see some of that moisture starting to build, which will impact Texas later in the week. All right, National Hazards Map. Not a lot going on, but we still do have frost and freeze warnings for portions of Florida and Georgia today. And we also do have winter weather advisories across portions of West Virginia and Virginia. That's that Clipper system that went through last night, that disturbance. And then there is winter storm warnings and even lake effect snow warnings still along portions of Lake Erie. Winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories up for portions of Wisconsin and Michigan as well. Let's take a look now at some of the snowfall totals reported so far in Pennsylvania. Southeast of where is this? Northeast Pennsylvania. That's the name of the town, I guess. 43.5 inches of snow. Girard, Pennsylvania. 42.2 inches of snow. Erie, looks like east-southeast of Erie, 36 inches of snow was reported for you. In Crawford County, we do see here in Springboro, west-northwest of Springboro by 3 miles, 17.6 inches of snow. In North Madison, New York State, Lake County, I believe this is this is Ohio. In North Madison, 24.5 inches, and I do believe I have queued up here in New York State, but first off, also in Ohio, northeast Saybrook, 40.1 inches of snow has been reported. And taking a look now, here we go, in New York, and Erie County, New York reports 32 inches of snow, and Copenhagen, New York, 46 inches of snow. That is just very impressive. That is almost 4 feet of snow. That's impressive. And some of these totals, mind you, some of them are pretty far behind what you saw before from the Weather Service in Cleveland, and what you're seeing here from Buffalo have not updated in some time. So these numbers in some of these areas could even be even higher at this point. Not much to report from the Storm Prediction Center. All is quiet there. That's some good news. Weather Prediction Center. We do have something to talk about. Days 1 through 7. Some precipitation now showing up for Oregon and Washington. You see it's a little higher now. Then, of course, there is this. If you're in Texas, Louisiana, maybe you're down near Houston or New Orleans, or maybe you're in Mississippi. Yeah, there's going to be some precipitation for you. That moisture, that disturbance in the Gulf, it's going to be meandering around for a while, and that moisture will eventually increase with that system. And we still see the threat of some snowfall. That's the moisture that you're seeing along the Great Lakes. Everywhere else, relatively dry. It is a dry period for right now, and any systems that come through will be limited in moisture. Let's take a look at the NAM. This is the 12Z run, and we can see here these lake effect snow bands will continue as we head into tonight, and yeah, tomorrow as well, although they will weaken some tomorrow. There is still, the NAM is still showing quite an impressive band right along the Pennsylvania-New York State border. We'll have to keep our eyes on that as I advance this. Here's that system down in the Gulf of Mexico, and you can see that moisture builds, and then it does start to lift north a little bit. Some models are more impressive than this, and then as we take a look as we go into Wednesday evening into Thursday, yes, this is a Clipper system that is coming across Canada, will come into the Northeast. I think there could be some convective nature to this, meaning we could see the threat of snow squalls and snow squall warnings with this potential with this particular system. And behind us, there's going to be a reinforcement to the cold air in the Northeast. All right, let's take a look at the GFS now. Let's back the GFS up. And here's the GFS as we head into this week. Here's that moisture that builds along the Gulf Coast on Wednesday. Here's that Clipper system that comes into the northeast. You can see here, as we get into Thursday morning, we'll say late Wednesday evening going into Thursday morning, that's when it's going to impact the northeast. This moisture here will really start to build over portions of Louisiana, probably as we head towards Friday. Take a look at that. You can see some heavier rainfall showing up. A reinforcement of the cold air in the east, strong winds, it's going to be cold, mild conditions in the west. The ridging right now is in the west, but then as I continue to advance this, moisture builds even more down south. Take a look at this. It's going to be a wet weekend next weekend for portions of Texas and Louisiana, and eventually that will shift east, maybe at some point by Sunday. There's timing differences in the models, but then after that, take a look here in the northern plains. You do see an area of low pressure. I'm going to shift this to the 500 millibar pattern. You do see there is a piece of energy coming out of Mexico, another piece of energy here across the Rockies, and maybe even a piece of energy up here in Canada. That's 3 areas of energy. This is something we are going to have to watch. Take a look when I show you the surface map. Yeah, you're seeing an area of low pressure starting to form across Oklahoma and Texas. You're seeing Gulf moisture get worked in. You're seeing some snow in the north side. Remember, it's going to continue to be cold in the north. So right now, we're looking beyond next weekend. Sunday, the Monday, and Tuesday. Those 3 days, somewhere in that window between December 8th and December 10th. Mark that on your calendar. There's going to potentially be a storm system that stretches from the plains straight on into the northeast. There is disagreement on the models as to where this is going to track. I would say the most extreme for winter weather right now would be the GFS model. And you can see here as we head in Tuesday, look at this. Yeah, that's wintry precipitation over the mid-Atlantic. Yeah, that's snow across Missouri. You can see it's trying to transfer to a coastal low. But when you have 3 pieces of energy, if not more, because as you see here, there's another disturbance on the back of this up in the plains, it's going to confuse the models for some time, and we are pretty far out. But I want to give you early awareness to this because it's been showing up on the models for several runs now, and it's something we need to keep our eyes on because it could be a significant winter threat for some areas. Take a look at this across the northeast. That's heavy snow and, yeah, even sleet and ice in between. It would be a multi-day event. Now let's switch gears for a second and let me show you the Canadian model. And there's that rain for next weekend along Texas and portions of Louisiana. You also do see some rain as we head into next weekend for portions of Washington and Oregon as well. Then as I advance this even further, look how the moisture starts to gather from the Gulf Coast. Here's that area of low pressure over Oklahoma. The Canadian model does go a bit more north with this system, which is possible. Then there's the European model, which also goes even further north. Now, this is pretty far out in time, but again, it's something I want to make you aware of because the signal is there for a moderate to high impact system that could impact many different states east of the Rocky Mountains. Now, here comes the European model, and European does have that Clipper system in the northeast, does have that Gulf Coast rain, and it also has this. Take a look. It has some pretty heavy rainfall for portions of Oregon and portions of Washington, and let's get a day for you. That is next weekend, so it's looking likely next weekend it's going to be unsettled in the Pacific Northwest. If you're south of there in California, it's going to remain dry for you. As I advance this, you can see that energy does come to the east, but again, this is a bit more north of the other models, but even the European does have a wintry aspect on the northwest side of this system as it heads into the Great Lakes. And again, overall, the whole entire system just tracks more north on the European, and it also does not try to develop a coastal low whatsoever. So we got the CMC and the GFS versus the European. The GFS ensembles, the GEFS, yes, a lot of those members are starting to show this system as well. So it's something we're going to watch throughout the week. We have a long time to watch the system. And behind that on the European, another reinforcing shot of cold air does move in to the northeast, but I'm confident that mid-month, I think we are going to see an eastern thaw, and eventually the west coast will probably go back to being below average again, and maybe even starting to see signs of another unsettled pattern for the Pacific Northwest. All right, let's take a look at the Climate Prediction Center 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. I agree with this. Above average in the west, below average temperatures in the east. Taking a look at precipitation, you do see below average precipitation for much of the west. I think this could be slightly overdone for portions of Washington, Oregon, especially if the European is right, because the European is probably the weather of the models for places like Seattle or Portland, Oregon. Above average precipitation in between and all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Definitely agree with this for the Gulf Coast, because no matter where that storm system tracks as we head into late next weekend and into the following week, it is going to pull in some Gulf moisture, and this will make for an unsettled pattern. Could even be some thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast as well. That's not out of the question. And then 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. You're seeing here, while it's still below average in the east, it's not as harsh. We're starting to see signs that eventually, as we head maybe into the second week of December, we may come out of that cold pattern in the east, and still above average in the west, but not as much as we were seeing before. Taking a look at what's going on with 8 to 14 day precipitation, slightly above average across the southeast and the east and the northern plains, and slightly below average in the west coast. But again, if we get that zonal flow to set up that I was talking about yesterday that comes off the Pacific, we will have to watch for some unsettled weather in portions of the Northwest. I want to say Northern California on north at this point. And interesting to note, take a look at Alaska and Hawaii in the 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook. Above average precipitation is being expected for you, and that is the same if we go back to the 6 to 10 day outlook as well. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Sunday weather update. We'll have another weather update again tomorrow. You can follow me at Climate Data Report over on X and on Blue Sky. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, maybe you've watched several of my videos before and you like them, subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell to be notified of my latest video. And of course, share this video with anyone you know and leave your comments down below. I'll be back again tomorrow with all the weather headlines. Of course, an update on that potential storm system that could be coming a week from now, and everything else in between. Until I see you again tomorrow, thanks for watching, stay safe, and have a fantastic Sunday.